Greetings, everyone. This is Viola and Randy Krebs, and we live in Salt Lake City, Utah. We are starting our call with the lifetimes when Jesus and Buddha knew each other.
Chapter 4.
Chapter 4. Anyway, I can't seem to get it. All right. Chapter 4. And today is March 23rd, 2018. And I am honored to get the meeting going. Well, let's start out by everybody introducing yourself. And I'm Viola Krebs from Salt Lake City, Utah, married to
Randy.
Randy from Salt Lake City. And I'm excited for the call because I just look forward to these calls every Friday, just to see you guys, your happy faces, and share this journey, wonderful journey that we're on.
I was excited for chapter 4. Again, this was a different chapter. Reading the 9/11 part was still kind of a mystery to me, but it's what it is in this book, and hopefully we'll talk about it a little bit more during the discussion.
Oh yeah, you got to read the third book.
Yeah, see, I did not read the third book, so he says it was pretty prevalent in the third book, and I'm thinking,
better get it.
My ego's having a very, very hard time with that. So I can, from a engineering standpoint, I can understand implosion, etc., and it's been a lot of the theory, but we'll save that for the what's going on. Who wants to be next to introduce himself? Tell us where you live and
why you're excited.
Why you're excited about today's call.
I guess I'll go ahead and go since I interrupted. This is Nathan Lively. I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm also married to Randy Krebs, and I'm excited to be here to forgive everyone.
Thank you, Nathan.
You're so funny, Nathan.
I'm Sheila Sear from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm excited to be here because I'm excited to have Nathan forgive me.
And you, Sheila, oh, we have a comedy going on. All right, welcome to the call, Sheila.
I'm Langdon. I'm in France, and I'm excited about the call because I haven't been here for a week. And I was quite impressed with Nathan and Christian last week. I think they did a really good job.
They did.
They did an awesome job.
Thanks, guys.
And you're forgiven. So there you go.
Yay.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. This is Jared. I'm calling in from San Antonio. I'm home. I'm still not quite situated, but I am so excited about today's call. Just to be back here with y'all. I missed y'all. And I'm excited to talk about chapter 4 with y'all. I'm just on fire about all this content. And I'm going to share last because I need to listen to y'all while I'm getting situated. I literally just walked in from a meeting. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for hosting today. And let's rock.
Okay.
All right. All right. So chapter 4 was a short chapter, so we got through it quickly. I got through it quickly. I really like this chapter, Plato and Friends, because I learned a little bit more about Plato. And I guess I just didn't pay attention in high school and college on all these because it's all fascinating to me now. So I'll just say a few things that really caught me as being special or as being good in the chapter. You can't stop at thinking you're an illusion, which will leave you feeling empty and meaningless. You need to replace it. Otherwise, we walk around just saying, well, I'm an illusion, you're an illusion, what's the point? But you have to replace it with the Holy Spirit's thought system. And J&B actually had an important conclusion in this lifetime of Plato and Friends. And that important conclusion was that their journeys led them to a place that they knew that enlightenment depended on making an uncompromising decision. So they knew it couldn't be compromised. And that's huge for all of us as well. Plato believed in logic and would lead to self-fulfillment, but Bacchus and Icaros had enough experience to know that enlightenment had to do with relinquishments of individuality psychologically. Fulfillment is only found in oneness. So let's see. Plato thought that the things he's seeing was not real, but the ideas behind them were real. And that's still dualism. Still dualism. It was really kind of cool reading a little bit about Atlantis and about 911. And that actually J and B lived in Atlantis. And Socrates, I think Socrates did it as well. And the 9/11 planes, like Randy said, that was interesting. You guys will probably know a little bit more about that, to talk about that. Hopefully, because I'm not.
Interested to hear what Nathan can share out of book 3 on that.
Yeah, because I'm interested and I don't really understand how they actually talked to the people, the passengers. And, and at the very end of the chapter, the explanation of love was really cool, where Cindy's brother Jeff dies and they grieve, and eventually the pain goes away, but the love doesn't, and it will always be there. So the love is real and the pain isn't. The most real thing in life is love, and you can't see it. You can see it in action, but you can't see the love behind it. Your eyes cannot see the kingdom of heaven. Then a permanent experience will come where there will be only reality and awareness of constant state of oneness, and love will be all that there is. So the end of this chapter on love was really good. I liked it. So, Randy, do you want to go next?
Oh, I think mine was, again, King on Atlantis. So I think, what did it say? Atlantis was formed by a person not of this world, or developed or built by a person not of this world, and that
they weren't human. Something too, also,
yeah.
that they weren't human.
And 9/11, about how that people, that were given the choice whether to be on that plane, and those that decided not to were given money, but however, they're no longer with us. They're dead based on the conspiracy, etc., etc. So again, I'll turn it over to when Nathan's up to kind of explain a little bit more, because that was piqued my interest the most, the 9/11 theory. That's all I have at this point. Who wants to go next? Anybody?
Guess I'll do it.
Here you go.
Okay, there's the man.
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of story about 9/11, but they do basically say that it was a plot by Dick Cheney, together with some other people, to basically create, I don't know if red herring is the right word, but basically create a distraction that would start a war. And they blew up a
You're
separate
breaking up,
building
Nathan.
just themselves to cover up the records, but then how about now? Is that better? Hello, am I better now?
Yeah, you're
How
still
about that?
still showing a little.
Still not good. Geez, can't do anything right, huh? How about now?
Hold your left arm a little higher.
Here, I'll move towards the window. Am I coming back in now?
That's
You
better.
sound good. You sound good.
Okay. Yeah, so the end of the story is that part of the conspiracy was that they needed these planes to look like a terrorist attack and hit the World Trade Center. And I was just happy that Minneapolis made it into part of the story. And I was like, oh, Minneapolis. Oh, but it's part of the really bad part of the story. Oh, well. So, yeah, so they got most of the people off the plane. It sounds like at least one of them in Minneapolis, and then crashed it into the towers. I'm not sure what other details of the story you guys want to know, but if you just get the ebook version of it, you can skip straight there and read the exciting details.
So the
I
plane.
remember when I first got that book, though, I was like, I had just gotten to that section and I was over at my dad's house and I was like, you guys got to hear this.
So basically, the planes did not create enough damage to implode the building or to have it fall. Is that what they're saying?
Oh, I don't remember that detail. I mean, a plane did hit the World Trade Center,
Right.
and maybe that was enough to knock it down. I don't remember. I don't know the answer to your question. The only detail I remember is that one of the other buildings that blew up that wasn't even next to the World Trade Center was where they had all the records that could have been used to, expose this conspiracy. So it's just another one of those things that like is an interesting story of the ego for them to share with us, but will never be able to be proven because because all the records are gone. So it's just a thing to like show like how tricky the ego is, but you'll never be able to really find out if this is true.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty wild though. So I'll just share a couple of other of my highlights from the chapter. I like this line. People don't even realize they're in a temporary stage. They just think things are the way they are, and that they are right about their interpretation of everything. And that was good for me because I hear people say that to me regularly. They say, I guess things are the way they are. And I always kind of feel funny about that. Now I realize that it's like, oh yeah, things are the way they are, and that's your temporary perception of it, and that's my temporary perception of it.
Good point.
The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off.
Oh yeah, that was good. It's true.
All things in moderation, including moderation.
Oh, I didn't get that. That's good. All things in moderation except moderation?
Mm-hmm.
Including moderation.
No, including moderation. No, I like this. It's the relinquishment of individuality, psychologically that is, not physically, that leads to real fulfillment. And that connects with the reading of something that I read in the text today that says that God is an idea and can be shared. And that means that also you are an idea. And I think that was good for me to read both this and the thing I read today, because one of my biggest challenges is reading in places in the course and in Gary's stuff where they say like, you not only will you have to give up all of your grievances and your guilt, but you also give up your personality. And whenever I hit that, I'm like, oh, but my personality is so important. I've worked so hard on it and I'm so special. Mm-hmm. So it was good to read that like, I'm not a personality, but I'm an idea. Oh. And for some reason that felt comforting. So I like those parts.
That sounds special.
It does. All right, that's that for me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Langdon, Sheila?
Shall I go?
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. I don't think I'll go with the 9/11 because it's way too controversial. And I think that's an ego trick, so we'll leave that. But it was interesting about the Atlantis thing because I've been to the Canary Islands. I worked there for a bit, and I spent some time on Tenerife. And Tenerife's got a massive caldera right on the top of it, and basically a caldera is the top of a volcano. And so at some time or other, a bit like Yellowstone Park, which is a caldera as well. Being inside one is quite sobering because you think, this thing exploded once, and I'm sat right in the middle of it. So, wow. But it never occurred to me that the Canary Islands could have been anything else than volcanoes, because you've got Tenerife, you've got Fuerteventura and Gran Canaria and all that, and they make up a group of islands. So, but I no reason why extraterrestrials hadn't been here and done stuff in the past. Pyramids, notwithstanding, not being built by Egyptians, because there's pyramids all over the world, aren't there? And they're all in weird places, and they're all built incredibly, carefully and stuff like that. So I'm up for anything, really. Let's face it, I'm up for Course in Miracles. So I've been doing with this book. I think it's so amazing. It really it's a bit like a review of the book so far. And I've done a quick list here and of the sort of things that one has to get to grips with A Course in Miracles: non-duality, duality, the dream, oneness, forgiveness, and the ego, and not making anything real. Even one of those things would put most people off.
Yes.
But all of them take a bit of grasping, don't they? And the thing I've learned reading this book, because I'm motoring through it quite quickly, is that you've got the various people that we've met so far, that J and B have met. They all sort of, especially the Eastern religions, they've all come up with the idea that it's an illusion. And they've got this idea of duality, but then duality is not the answer, is it? You've got to get to non-duality. But then Plato, he thought everything came from the good, or maybe oneness, but he couldn't understand why good would make something that wasn't real. So that becomes duality. Duality, I thought the forgiveness thing was probably the most important thing, because forgiveness was the thing that Jesus just happened to get in before he died. He said, forgive them, they know not what they do. And I thought, well, if you've got your last minutes on earth and you want to make the most important statement in the shortest possible sentence, that would be it. Forgiveness undoes the ego, but you could still get caught at the end by this duality thing. And of course, I've sneaked into another chapter, and there is a bit where somebody almost reaches, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but somebody almost reaches total enlightenment, and then something crops up, and it's a person who he wants to see. And that brings him straight back, because he makes something real, that person. He really wants to see them so badly. So it drags him back into the loop. So I'm finding this book absolutely amazing, but it's frying my brain a bit at the moment.
Well, I'm glad you got your book.
Yeah, well, I didn't get the book I ordered. It never arrived, so I ordered another one.
Right.
And I ordered it with like an emergency delivery on it, and I got it within 2 days, which is kind of frustrating because I waited weeks, haven't I? So anyway, I'm loving the book. I'm finding it really, really good, and I guess you guys are too. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think duality is a real weird thing to understand and then know what to do with.
Right.
Because we've all got things that we hang on to, haven't we? I mean, even if it's just our kids or the dog, or things that we cherish, and you've kind of got to, you haven't got to deny them, but you've kind of got to back off, haven't you? It's not easy to describe, is it? I don't think. So I've got to work on that.
Anything else from chapter 3?
4.
I mean, chapter 4.
Chapter 4. He reviews the thing about the prisoners in the cave.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That was good.
The idea that, these guys have been sat in a cave for years, and they see these shadows on the wall, and they don't realize that there's something going on behind them, but they daren't look round. And I suppose they're so used to being where they are, they're too frightened to look around. And then, what was it? We can forgive a child for being afraid of the dark, but the real tragedy is when men are afraid of the light.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was good.
So I thought that was pretty deep.
That was amazing.
But Plato, like it's like you've got Plato. He gets to the point where he's almost there, and then the ego gets him with this idea. The good. I think I said this already, haven't I? He said everything comes from good, but he couldn't understand why good would make things that were unreal. So that, and being logical, he couldn't move on from that. But J and B had already, from what they'd learned with other people in the past, because they're already beginning to remember stuff they've learned before, because they keep being attracted to one another. And they get together and they say, well, you know, we can go so far with Plato, but we've got to go a stage further with this. And I think that's what happens. You move on, but you always, I like this idea that we all know one another. We probably met one another in previous lifetimes. Goodness knows how many we've had, you know, could be thousands, I don't know. But we're always in this orbit, aren't we? And J and B, you know, I think there's a reference to them meeting one another in 40 different lifetimes. Then in this book, there's only 7 of them that are mentioned.
Right.
So that's a lot of experiences, isn't it? You know, so, and I think the thing that's really exciting, it was last week, things that Nathan and Christian were talking about. I thought, this bunch of us, we're all on this ladder, and I suppose that nobody knows how many wretched rungs this ladder's got, but none of us are at the bottom anymore, are we? We're actually going up the ladder. We're 2 or 3 rungs up, maybe. And I think that's great. You know, we haven't got to make the decision to get on the ladder. We did that before we even met. So I think that's really, really encouraging and great stuff. And I really ought to shut up now and let somebody else have a say.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Langy.
Sheila.
Okay, I'm going to follow the same format that I've been posting on, like I've been posting the last couple of weeks, because that seems to really work for me. It helps me organize my thoughts. So Icaros, I don't know how you say it, Icaros says at one point, this life is a hoax. I love that. I've got that bolded on here. It's all a distraction to keep us from experiencing the truth, from knowing real life. We have to get to a place where there's no compromise, where we're making a firm decision between the real and the unreal, and empowering that decision with belief. And then Takis says, we can't have it both ways. The truth is true and nothing else is true. I love that statement. That's in the course.
Say it again.
The truth is true.
The truth is true and nothing else is true. So, you know, it's not what's true for you, or his truth, or my truth. That's not true. That's a belief. The truth is true. What is the truth? Well, the Course says God is, and that's probably right. And one day I will have the experience of knowledge of knowing that, but right now that's still a belief. So, you know, right now I can't even say what is true. I don't know. But I love that. The truth is true. Nothing else is true. We have to choose once and for all. There's a formless oneness just beyond the hoax. It's non-dualistic. It's perfect. And only that perfection is true. Blow me away.
Oh, say it again. Sorry.
It's non-dualistic. It's perfect. And only that perfection is true. There must be a way to remove the barriers to it and experience it on a permanent basis. And Persa adds, making an uncompromising decision. This whole paragraph really speaks to me right now, and it seems to be telling me where I'm at and what I have to do next. I've had what, you know, a lot of people would probably call a really unlucky couple of weeks. A lot of stuff going on, which will be in my forgiveness in the field. And I feel like I'm just done with it. I want out. I want to make this decision once and for all. So that's that paragraph. Persa says, the ego script in the future will be more of the same, except it will be bigger, faster, and scarier. Without your belief, the ego is nothing. The difference between most people and people like J and B, even in Plato's time when they were Icaros and Takis, is that they weren't taken in by appearances. Reference to my past couple of weeks, I fell on the ice and hurt my shoulder. My daughter got her wisdom teeth out and I was busy nursing her with that. Then the ice on the roof started melting and started leaking through the ceiling down through a light fixture. Then I wrecked my car on some ice that was outside. Today I was driving home from the store and I had a nice pie for dessert for tomorrow for my company that's coming, and it fell upside down in my rental car that I have.
Oh,
And at some point today, it was actually after the pie. The pie fell, and I thought, well, this has nothing to do with me. I'm done with this. This has nothing to do with me. So if I can maintain that and realize that all this body stuff, none of this stuff, that's happening to something that looks like a body that we call Sheila, but that's not me. This has nothing to do with me. I'm hoping I can stick with that. So we'll see. So then Gary was talking about Cindy's brother dying, Jeff, and he says it was an extreme lesson in duality. 1 second you're enjoying a fantastic day, the next second the ego's dream of death kicks you in the face. So we did the best we could. And boy, I can relate to that, because a week ago, I was driving home from my hair appointment and all was good. And I was 4 minutes away from home, and my daughter and I are going to go out. We're going to get her a new phone, and it's the weekend and it's going to be good. And I hit this ice rut, and 4 minutes later, my engine light is on, and there's not bells and whistles, but alarms going off in my car saying, oh my God, there's a problem. And I don't know, we're up to $3,000 in damage on my car so far, and they're still pulling out broken pieces. So I don't even know. So it's 1 second things are great, and the next second it's, no, it's not. La 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 la. So we did the best we could, he says. And I feel like my best over the last couple of weeks, I really am judging as not very good. The good thing is, though, I have managed to remember that somewhere inside of me, part of me, the real me, is still sitting there peacefully watching what's going on and is not affected. But for the most part, that peace has been escaping my awareness. So I've been ranting and raving and upset and losing sleep and all kinds of crap. Whatever. Hopefully after today, if this has nothing to do with me, maybe it'll all settle down. We'll see. So then towards the end, this is what you were talking about, Viola, and I really like that part too. Gary says, eventually the pain you feel for the one you appear to have lost goes away, but the love doesn't. It will always be there. The love is real, the pain isn't. And I just wanted to say about that this has been my experience with my mom. Apparently she died in 2002, her body anyways, long before I had the course to help me out here. And I was sad at first and I cried. But as I look at it now, I find that for quite a while, years, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, probably even before the course, I haven't been sad. And I don't miss her. I love her. I loved her. She was my best friend. In anything in my life, the thing I was most terrified of was losing my mom. And I realize I don't miss her. I love her. I carry her with me wherever I go. Anytime I want to talk to her, I talk to her. And I can hear her talking back. So I think that is wonderful. I know I did everything I could for her at the end of her life. And it's the love that I carry with me now. And that's what I got.
Excellent.
that's nice.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Well, part of it's nice and part of it is like, "Arr!"
Jared, you're on from your home stage.
Do you want me to unmute you? Okay, you're muted.
You muted him.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, how do you guys like my new stage?
it's nice.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right.
What's that?
So,
what's the
You,
arch?
you have 3 stages now, Jared.
What's the arch? What do you mean?
Oh no, that's your light. Oh, your light. There you go. Your light was showing.
Okay.
through the camera.
I'm still kind of learning this thing.
Oh, that looks so much better.
Better?
Yes, better.
Okay. So, guys, chapter 4, Rock My World. I read it twice. I mean, it was awesome to hear about how they were with Plato. I mean, what a big deal. Like, for the ego, but still kind of neat, hanging out with Plato, how Plato lived in like I guess a really rich family, and let's just say he didn't have to work, and that they had the freedom to be their own teacher, and like you guys had mentioned, they were carrying their wisdom from the past lives into this life, and that was great. Yeah, the 9/11 thing is definitely a trick for us to focus on and to be like, ooh, and to distract us and to forgive, because it's easy to be pissed off about figuring out it's a conspiracy. Like I figured out all the conspiracy stuff in like 2014, and I had a long time where I was depressed about it or mad about it or worried about, the shadow government and all that stuff. But I realized I can't focus on that. But oh yeah, it's a totally, everybody knows, it was an inside job, like type of deal, like at this point in my mind. It's crazy when you look into it, but it's just another thing to forgive at the end of the day, it's not worth going into like in depth. But it was very intriguing to hear that extra information, because what we heard from Arten and Persa on that call or on that chapter was definitely information I didn't know, like detailed information about that. I circled some things that I'd like to just read to you from chapter 4. And so unlike Christian, I circle everything all over my book and circle and underline everything. So, okay, by the way, I should mention that people don't even realize they're in a temporary stage. Oh, Nathan already said that. I forgive you, Nathan. They just think the things are the way they are and that they're right about their interpretation of everything. Yeah. Your mind will start to lose some of the unconscious fear that you had in God. So we have this unconscious fear of God. If I'm to ask you, oh, are you afraid of God? You say, no, I love God. But there's this unconscious fear of God that I have. And we all have. And I didn't even know about it. And now I'm learning about it. And a tremendous resistance, unconscious resistance to the truth. I can see that in myself. I can see how I want to continue with the ego identification of Jared Krebs and the body of Jared Krebs and the ego empire of Jared Krebs. And the tremendous resistance that I have to relinquish that. But I don't care. I'm reading this book and I don't care. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep chipping away. I'm going to keep reading these books. I'm going to keep forgiving everything that comes up. And I just don't care. So it was a necessary step towards oneness. They're fixated on making their lives work, forgetting that the ending is always going to be the same for every human body. I am so fixated on making my life work, man. I visualize, I work out, I take vitamins, I pay my bills, I do all the things we all do. I'm fixated on making my life work, forgetting that the end is always going to be the same for every human body, and that it would be wiser to build their lives on something permanent rather than on the cheap imitation of life they're being shown by the ego. So this is a cheap imitation of life. And my MO, my method of operation, is to read this book and this book every single day, at least 2 pages a day, because I feel like that's more valuable than even putting more money in my bank account. These two, this is like my spiritual bank account. And then forgiving everything else and just, going with the flow, doing what I got to do. But man, those 2 pages a day from this book and that Ken Wapnick book, that's kind of like my method of operation. I felt led to share that because everything else is as good as it is. I'm having a really good dream right now at this stage of the dream. And, it's like, there's like that fear that it could go bad at any moment. That sucks. But I'm going to forgive it. I do not care. Whatever happens, I'm going to forgive it. I'm going to continue to just work and chip away at the ego and waking from this dream. And I'm just going to forgive everything. And let's rock. The relinquishment of individuality, psychologically that is, not physically, that leads to real fulfillment. Takis and Ikaros had enough experience to know enlightenment had nothing to do with individuality. Indeed, it's the relinquishment of individuality, psychologically, not physically, that leads to real fulfillment. Which means that we can still, you know, have parties and go crazy and have fun, but relinquishment of individuality, psychologically. Atlantis was destroyed by ignorance, greed, and resulting violence. The ego's goal is always murder. Why? Because if you can be hurt or destroyed, that means you're a body. And if you're a body, then the whole ego thought system of separation is true. It's a gloomy cycle that can be ended only by undoing, not right by redoing. So, you know, reincarnation, redoing? No, undoing. A mother knows her son. Yeah, that was interesting when they talk about how they had this perfect day and then it was like slapped in the face by the death of Cindy's stepbrother. And I really appreciate what you had to say, Sheila, about your mom and how you have the love for her and the pain is gone. Like, that's awesome. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
All right. So practice, let's see, forgiveness in the field. Let's see.
JSFO.
We have
20 minutes.
20 minutes, and there's 1, 2, 3, 5 of us. Six into 20 minutes.
5, 4, 3 minutes.
3, we get 3 minutes each. I need my phone.
I got it right there on the computer. Go.
Okay, I'll go first. This is an awareness that I got after, it must have been after we met with Gary Renard, because we met with him a couple of days ago, and we were talking about an infection that he got and how his ego was trying to murder him. And so I just kind of looked at my whole experience of 6 months of what I've been through with cancer, and I realized that my ego was trying to murder me. And that the best way, like the ego is so clever that it used, like, if you guys knew me before my diagnosis, I was the person that would never put any harmful ingredients or chemicals into her body or on her body, or I was always like almost like overboard with that, being really healthy. And I was at my peak health. And then the ego, who was very brilliant, is the best way for the ego to try to make me feel like I am a body. Because what better way than putting a bunch of chemotherapy, platinum, carboplatinum, blah, 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 into my body. Like just shoving it in, like destroying natural healthy cells along with cancer. But what better way is for me to become distracted and and then when I read it in Gary in this chapter that the ego's goal is murder, that will never happen, because the thought of separation, if the ego convinces me of that, and that's what the ego's purpose was, then it would be successful. But I know that I'm not a body, so that I can never be murdered by my ego. So that was like huge, and so I had to forgive it. But I had never looked at it that way. And I did have my last chemotherapy Friday. And so I'm working at woohoo, like this. Yeah. And I'm working at now getting all of those toxic chemicals out of my body and cleaning it all up now. But anyway, so that's my forgiveness.
Perfect. 2.5 minutes. My forgiveness in the field is dealing with we call him our ex-son-in-law. My daughter and he have divorced, and it's for the next 3.5 years, he cannot contact or be around her. So I am the point of contact for our cute little grandson. So I spent pretty well this week, battling emails with the ex-son-in-law. And my ego is really bad because my ego is enjoying all this bantering that I'm doing with the father of our grandson, up to the point where even today when I did the exchange with the grandson, I purposely held our grandson 5 additional minutes because he was 5 minutes late giving him back up. So it's a crazy game my ego is having me play, but definitely my forgiveness in the field has to be towards him because, I mean, he is a body. He did procreate. He had something to do with my grandson. So he is the father of the grandson, but...
and forgive yourself.
And forgive myself because I'm, actually making, what do you say? What
do you mean?
When I'm doing stuff
Just
to him.
Just a forgiveness opportunity?
No, when I'm doing stuff to him, I'm actually
doing it to yourself.
Doing it to myself. So probably in another past lifetime when the roles were exchanged. So that's my forgiveness in the field, which I've been having for about the last 1.5 years. That's it. Who wants to go next? Nathan. Buddy.
Hey, let's do it. Let's see. So my forgiveness in the field this week was I had a good one yesterday when I was kind of having some small upsets with my wife, and then she said something to me just out of the blue that was probably just seemed like in passing, like kind of funny to her, but kind of really got to me. And she said, we've probably had a lot of lifetimes together dealing with these issues, and I guess we're probably going to have some more lifetimes together because we're still not working out our issues. And I was like, haha, that's funny. But then after she left, I was like, actually, that's not very funny. I mean, it is from a farther perspective, but in the moment I was like, oh, it's actually really sad. So I was really struggling with this idea of like, well, how do I correct these problems right now? And like, why is the Holy Spirit not helping me to like correct these problems? Why do I keep having these issues I can't solve? I keep improving myself, but I keep having emotional problems and relationship problems with people. And that's when I realized, because I've been working so hard in the last couple of weeks to really think about, I'm not here to change the world, I'm here to change how I see the world, that I realized in that moment, oh, the more important thing is that I not focus on changing these things necessarily. I don't have to change them right now in this moment. I need to change the way I see these things, which is to forgive what my wife just said, which is to forgive what I said and to accept the atonement and see the truth, which is that didn't really happen, and therefore I can accept both of us. I can forgive both of us for what never really happened, and that's my forgiveness in the field.
That's good.
Thank you, Nathan.
Langy?
Yeah, I got a similar one to Nathan, I think, because all the time I've been doing A Course in Miracles, because my wife is an atheist, and in a funny sort of way, she's probably more spiritual than I am. But we do have when I first read Disappearance of the Universe, because obviously I hadn't heard of A Course in Miracles, I was so sort of blown away by it. I couldn't stop talking about it, and we used to have the most enormous rows. And she used to say, "But you want to be dead," she said. "You just want to be gone." I said, "No, that's Course in Miracles." He's not saying that. He's just saying that this is just an illusion. It's just not really here. So anyway, because the new books come, you've got to talk to somebody, and it's just her and me all the time. So obviously, I'm sort of saying, "Oh gosh, do you realize Jesus and Buddha did so and so and so and so?" and then she'll come back with something, and then the ego kicks in, doesn't it? You think, well, and you find yourself defending it. So we've had a bit of this sort of tussle. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be, but so lots of forgiveness opportunities for me to forgive myself, a bit like Nathan said, and also forgiving her for, because I think she really wants to understand it, but the ego always seems to put a wall up, But time is a great healer. And the other thing is, I've got a slow burn. As I remember, Perth had this thing where she had what she called a slow burn, and I've got a slow burn going on in England at the moment because my main source of income is the rental on a property I've got. And about a month ago, the tenant decided to move out. So suddenly, I've got no income coming in, and I've got to deal with it. And because I haven't really had much work last year, I just couldn't get any work. And I just got some work and started to pull away. And then suddenly my main source of income has vanished. So I haven't actually got any money to do anything to the property in England to make it suitable for new tenants. But I've forgiven it all. I thought, well, I can't do anything from here, so I'll forgive it all. And anyways, things turned out. I've got some help coming. It's just I suppose a miracle has come along, and it's sort of sorting itself out. But that's the way it goes, isn't it? It's a bit like poor Sheila with all the horrible stuff with the snow and that. You don't know how big or small it's going to be, and you don't know when it's coming, but you just got to forgive it when it does. So on the face of it, things are okay for me. So I'm pretty grateful for that.
That's excellent. Well, did you ask the Holy Spirit for help on your property in England?
Yeah, the thing is, something usually crops up all my life. Before I ever got involved in A Course in Miracles, I don't know if you have this expression in America, but I'm quite jammy. Things will just turn up. I quit a job once. I just had enough. Walked in. I said, I've finished. Walked out, got home, walked in the door, the phone rang, I picked it up, and somebody said, Lange, are you available to do so-and-so?
Yeah.
And I said, and that was to go to Tenerife, funnily enough. And I said to this guy, are you sitting on my shoulder? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, I've just quit my job. And he said, and then I come in the door, the phone's ringing, I pick it up, and you're offering me a job. And I had somebody tap me on the shoulder in the street once, I was talking to somebody about something, and a particular person came to mind, and I said, "Oh yeah, da 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 da." And somebody tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around, and the person I just mentioned, who I hadn't seen in years, tapped me on the shoulder.
Wow.
And I said, "You're not going to believe this, but here he is." And he, and as a result of him tapping me on the shoulder, I ended up with loads of work from him. So things just spookily happen. It was like Ashley, my Buddhist friend. He's been in Nepal for the last month, and he was due back, and I was down in the town, and I thought, I wonder if he's back. So I drove up the road. He was only about 2 miles away. Drove up his little driveway, had a look inside his yurt. He lives in a yurt while he's building his house. And his daughter was in there packing up. She'd been looking after the place. I said, "Oh, is Ashley about?" And she said, yeah, he's just got back. He'd literally arrived 3 minutes before I did. And anyway, he came down. He said, "Oh, hello, Lange." He shook me by the hand. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "God," I said, "Half spooky." I said, "I only decided to come here about 5 minutes ago, and you've literally just arrived." Yeah, spooky stuff.
You have a gift, Lange.
I certainly do. But the thing is, at the same time, I've been reading, in the workbook. I've been doing the workbook very, very slowly. And I think it's lesson 97. And it says, you are entitled to miracles. Mm-hmm. So here I am reading all this stuff that I'm entitled to, and really you just kind of got to ask, but that you can't just say, I want $1 million. It doesn't work like that, does it? You got to be a bit more circumspect, I think.
Right.
So
There's your time.
Yeah, I've got to go.
All right, Sheila.
Okay, well, so, my forgiveness in the field has to do with ice. It's the ice on the front step, and I fall and wrench my shoulder and hurt my hip. And then there's the ice on the roof that melts and leaks through. Then there's the ice on the road that wrecks my car. And it's funny, before the car thing, like, and this is all over the space of like 2 weeks or so. Before the car thing, the other stuff had happened, and I'm driving around in my car. There's a snowstorm, by the way. I had just left work, and I was mad. I was angry. Nothing had happened particular, but I was just mad. I think the snow, well, the ego, obviously, but I'll say it was the snow. And I was livid. I was doing something I haven't done for a long time. I was yelling. I was swearing. I was cursing God. I was saying F everything. I said, F you, God, and F you, Holy Spirit, and what the hell is going on with it? Like, it just, I ranted and raved. By the time I was done, my throat was sore and raw. And I was saying, there's nothing good in this world. I hate this dumb world. This dumb world sucks. I want out. It's stupid. I can't believe people like this place. What the hell is it like? Okay, there's my car. Okay, I like my car. But other than that, I hate everything. And I'm telling you, it was like an hour later, I smacked my car.
Oh.
And right now, I almost have to laugh. I haven't really found the place of peace yet, because I keep thinking, well, the city should damn well plow the roads. There should not be foot-high ice ruts on the road that it causes. I just keep, I want to be right. Right now, I want to be right instead of be peaceful. So I'm working on it. I know it's there. I keep practicing. I will keep reading. I will keep meditating. But right now, ego kind of has me in a little grip. And I just think, I've never been this unlucky. There's never been all this stuff all happen at once. Shit happens, but not all this. And I'm thinking, this has got to be, maybe I'm at the top, and if I can just get over this, it'll be done. And that's my hope anyhow. But anyway, something happened also online here on one of the groups the other day that helped me a lot. It made me actually finally laugh about this. A fellow had written a story, and he had fallen on the ice, and he says the voice of Jesus came to him, and it said, nothing icy means anything. Nothing icy. Nothing I see.
I see.
Nothing I see. And I thought, oh my God, and all my shit is about ice. Wow.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that made me laugh and calm down a little bit. And today, when that pie thing happened, and I just thought, well, this has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to, so I'm hoping maybe I'm getting over it, but I'm working on it.
That's good. And you will. Well,
Eventually.
Yes. Jared, forgiveness in the field, my son.
All right, forgiveness in the field. Well, two things. Crystal decided to sleep downstairs. Crystal's always my forgiveness, She decided to sleep downstairs because the cat from outside, the cat that is not our pet. Okay, we already adopted a stray cat like 3 years ago that is our pet, Bobby Carrington, but now there's a new cat.
Oh, no.
This new cat, it's not cold now, so this new cat could sleep outside. But this new cat, they both, Nora and Crystal, they love this new cat, and they let the cat in at night because the cat's like, the cat wants to come in. But then if they let the cat just stay down there, the cat will fight with our existing cat. So one of them always has to sleep downstairs. And I'm like, I want to sleep with my wife. I want her body in that bed with me. And it's late, and I am not in the mood. And I'm like, you're choosing your cat over our marriage. And I am just pissed off, and there's like nothing I can do to like forgive her or the situation. And I'm just like, so I think after I was upset and I guilt tripped her so hard. I'm good with words, and I just used them, and I guilt tripped her so hard. She came and slept upstairs, but she was mad, at me, so it did no good. And
you should have brought the cat.
And this cat, I have to say, in this cat's defense, it is the sweetest cat. Like, our cat that we have is a ornery, not friendly, confrontational cat. We've had this cat for 3 years. It's part of the family. His cat has the domain. But the new cat is the sweetest. You can hug him and love him. So I can see why they love this cat. But I mean, come on, he's a stray cat. Why are you letting him stay in the house? You know? It's but it's just oh, you know how the book says how people are just like they're like programmed or whatever to like I'm pre-programmed to like the guitar and to be an extrovert and to be in multi-level marketing. That's my personality program. And like Christian is pre-programmed to play poker and do his stuff. And like we all, you know, have our little program. My wife and my mother-in-law, they are programmed to love pets.
Mm-hmm.
It's just part of their program. There's nothing I can change about it. I just got to forgive it. So, you know, I forgave it. I asked the Holy Spirit for help in that moment. And I went to bed and, you know, we talked about it the next day. I think it's like every other night now. She's sleeping downstairs with the cats, but never 2 nights in a row. And I'm just going to just go, wow. Hey man, my life is going really awesome right now. Like my dream, like this, whatever dream, as far as money, business, health, fun. I mean, like everything's just like, wow, like amazing. I'm doing a lot of the law of attraction stuff, and I'm visualizing the positivity, and I want to just share that with everyone on the call. That we had our session with Gary, and I had a talk with Pablo, and I don't probably have enough time to like go into it now because we're out of time. But basically, the whole concept is that, you know, yes, the visualization is about scarcity, right? Like I'm visualizing because I think I need money and I think I need these things and I think I'm a body. And so my true problem is actually fear of God. And that's being reflected in my fear of scarcity, my fear of poverty, hence the visualization. So what they say, or what Pablo kind of suggested, was that I asked the Holy Spirit for help, and that he gave me some certain mental words to say, some mental processes to say. I'll share those with you next week because they're on my phone, and I'm using my phone to be on this camera. But basically what he said is that use these mental processes to activate the thought system of the Holy Spirit and to know the truth, to know that I'm not a body, to know that the truth, you know, like the truth. And then after I've activated that, if I still felt a need to visualize and do affirmations, then do them. And he said, it does you no use to just deny it's actually useless to deny the behavior of focusing or the behavior of affirmations or the behavior of making phone calls. It's useless to deny that because that makes it real as well. So just activate the Holy Spirit thought system as much as you can. He said, eventually I will not have the desire to visualize because I'll be like, okay, Holy Spirit, you got this, let's rock. So I'm being kind to myself. I'm not trying to punish myself or stop myself from visualizing, but I am activating the thought system of the Holy Spirit as much as I possibly can in the busyness of my life. And I know eventually I will relinquish, you know, the psychological attachment to the ego. And I just got to give myself some time. It's got to be gradual, man. I can't be too gung-ho about it, you know? So there you have it, guys. That's what's been going on with me. And thank you for listening.
Yeah, we're at the top of the hour. Closing out.
Well, let's see. We're having Gary be our guest on our book club on
May 24th.
May 24th.
I think it's.
Is that May 24th or 25th?
It's that Friday.
That Friday.
Yeah.
I think it's May 25th. Can someone check their calendar?
Where's my phone?
Mm-hmm. I don't have my phone.
Where's our phones?
So I don't know if someone can check their calendar. I can't because I'm using my phone right
I
now.
can check it just a sec.
It's May 25th.
25th. Okay, so guys, I've kind of planned out the chapters and stuff. Like most of the chapters are like 15 pages long, which is like perfect for someone like me. I know a lot of you guys read like crazy. But like, so next week we'll talk about chapter 5, Siddhartha and his son. I can't wait for that. And then the week after that will be the final times of Jay and Buddha. And the week after that will be chapter 7, Gnosticism. And then the week after that will be, we'll start the Jay Channeled. And then we'll take 2 weeks to do chapter 8, because chapter 8's like 40 some pages. So we'll take 2 weeks to do chapter 8. We'll take 2 weeks to do chapter 9. And then we'll be basically done right before Gary. So we need to kind of figure that out, but I think we take 2 weeks on the long chapters, and then we'll be done right before the 25th, and we'll have Gary on, and it's going to be awesome.
It is.
Awesome.
So,
Sweet.
okay. Mom and Dad, thanks for hosting, and go ahead and finish us off.
Oh, before you go, do your clocks change on Sunday?
They did 2 weeks ago.
Same here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I was changing on Sunday, so that's why we're a bit early tonight. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
That was lucky. That was spooky, wasn't it? I could have been really late tonight by an hour.
And you were
Okay.
still on time.
Yeah,
Wow,
we,
impressive.
March 11th. I guess it was, yeah.
Hmm.
March 11th is when we changed our clock.
So it's 1 in the morning. It started at 1 in the morning instead of 2 in the morning for you?
Yeah. I thought I just got in here anyway, and I just sort of tuned in, and then we got Sheila tuned in as well. So I thought, oh, funny. I thought because I'm tired. Fair enough. It must be time to go. So yeah, I had no idea. I thought the whole world changed its clocks at the same time. France and England do, and probably Europe. But I had no idea you changed yours already. So okay.
Interesting. I didn't know that. So I guess we'll be back to 2 a.m. 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Saturday morning.
Back to the old
Rockstar.
one.
Oh my God, you're the best.
See you next week.
Love you, man.
All
All right,
you
thank you
too.
guys.
God
Good
bless.
night and God
Good
bless.
night and God bless.
Good night and God bless.